Welcome back to Further Solutions Academy. Don't forget to share and subscribe to our channel, Further Solutions Academy. We are working on function. The video on function, the outline of these videos are definition of function, inequality function, and the finding domain of a function. Now, let me start from the other one, which is definition of function. Well, on the video before now, we have explained what is called function, mapping. Don't forget mapping the same thing as what? Function. Like a function is also the same thing as what? Mapping. Mapping, Now, and I think I've explained earlier that I've explained videos, there are videos on mapping or on function that really explain that simplified secondary school curriculum, scheme of work on function. But on this video, I'll be working on what is called now when we talk about mapping, you have to understand what is called something like this and something like this. Now this is called domain and this is called co-domain. Take note of that, domain and co-domain. Now we also call it image and pre-image. This image and pre-image. We also call it input and what? Output. Input and output. If I have A, B, C, D, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look at this, and this, and this, and this. Can you see? We have this is called, that is what is called image. And I've explained type of mapping, which is function. We have bijective, injective, subjective, bijective, composite, and inverse. Depends on what you are working on. There are videos on that. But what I just need to know that try to understand this very, very powerful concept. For instance, if I have something like this, my g of x equals to x cubed plus x squared. Now, this is my function. I declare g to be like this. Now, I can now say that my g of 2 will be equals to what? 2 raised by 3 plus what? 2 raised to power 2, which it will be equals to, we have 8, which will be 12. My g of minus 1 will be equals to minus 1 cube plus minus 1 squared, which is equals to 0. And g of t can also be equals to t cubed plus t squared. And g of s plus 1 will be also equals to s plus 1 squared, cube plus s plus 1 squared. Now, take note of this. Everything that you are having here, they are known as what? Domain, which is also, you can call it input. Now, everything we are having here is known as what? Output, which is known as what? Co-domain, which is known as what? Output. Output. Now, that is what we are talking about. Can you see the application part of it? The function and the what? And the result of the function. That is what we need to understand at this point. Now, I think let me try to explain. Let me move on to the next one, which is called definition of equality of a mapping, of a function, which is also known as mapping. Don't forget to share and subscribe to this channel. Okay. Now, I want to work on equality of a mapping. When a function is said to be equal, it means it will be equal when we declare g equals to f, or f of s equals to g of x. It means such a given set, such a functions are equal. They are equal. It means they have the same input and output. That is what we are talking about. For instance, look at this question. Determine which of the following functions are equal. Now look at this. I have f of x equals to what? S plus 2 and x minus 1 divided by x minus 1. G of x equals to s plus 2. And the next one we have h of x. This is being declared like this, and we have s plus 2 and 0. Here is if my s is not equals to what? 1. If s equals to 1. Now, and we have k of x, which I have now. I have s plus 2 and also 3. This one is if my x is not equals to 1, if s equals to 1. Now, this is a very nice question that somebody can ask at any time, which determine which of the following functions are equal. Now, what you just need to do here is not very hard. Just calm down and try to understand the question. Now, don't forget that I can write, I'm now on solution. Now, I can write that my f of x could be equals to s plus 2 and x minus 1 divided by x plus minus 1 rather. Now, this we cancel this without doubt. My f of x can be equals to what? S plus 2. Now, my f of x equals to f plus 2. Now, okay, now, since I have that, you can notice that it's also the same thing as what? My g of x is also equals to s plus 2. Therefore, you can see that my f of x equals to g of x. That is what I mean by equality mapping. At any given time, the inputs and the output will be equal. For instance, f of 2 will be equals to what? 4. G of 2 will be equals to 4. F of 100 will be equals to what? 102. G of 100 will be equals to what? 102. That is what it means at any given time it is equal. That's what is called equality of a function. Now, and you can notice that my h of s and the k of s they are equal when for every x not to be equals to what? 1. For every s not to be equals to 1, it means they are equal. But for h of x is not equals to k of s. For every s not to be equals to 1. This one is for every s they are not equal. For every s not to be equals to 1, they are equal. But for every s not to be equals to 1, they are not equal, because you can see that this is 0, this is this, and is equals to s, and s equals to 1, s equals to 1. Do you understand what I'm trying to say now? That is what I mean by what. Now let me try to play along with another question for better understanding. Look at this particular problem. If f of x equals to root of x squared and g of x equals to what? S. And also if f of x equals to root of s plus 1 squared and g of x equals to s plus 1. Now look at this. At any given time, it is equal. At any given time, it is equal because I can express this as what? F of x could be equals to what? S2 bracket of 1 all over 2. This will cancel it, which is equals to what? S. It means equals to g of x equals to what? F of x equals to x. Now, and also, I can also move on by having f of x equals to what? S plus 1 squared and 1 all over 2. This will cancel this. And which also the same thing as what? G of x, which is also f plus 1. Now, at any given time, they will be equal. There are many more of them, but for now, that's what I can work on. Now, I want to work on finding domain, which is the domain. Okay, now finding domain. I don't need to say much. Let me just find the domain of the following functions. Now look at this function number one. I have f of x equals to s divided by s squared minus x minus 2, and 2 g of x equals to root of g of t rather equals to t minus 1, 2t minus 1. Now this is a very nice question that can be asked anywhere, that you should find the domain of this function. What you just need to do is very simple. Just go like this, and we all know that my f of x can be equals to x plus what? Now, in the next video, I will explain what is called rational function or polynomial function. At this point, I will just assume that the only thing that will cause problem here at undefined, at when my s is what? Undefined. For my s to be undefined, because it's a fraction, it's a fraction form. I mean, it's a fraction form. It means s squared minus x minus 2 will be equals to 0. S plus 1 and x minus 2 will be equals to 0. S plus 1 and x minus 2 will be equals to 0. And x will be equals to minus 1, or x will be equals to 2. It means now domain, the domain of f of s will be all sets of real number, except all set of real number except 2 and what? And minus 1. Now it means the domain of this function is all set of real number aside from what? Minus 1 and 2. Any other thing is a domain. Any other number are domain except from this number. It means when you remove these 2 and minus 1 from real number, other numbers are what? Are domain of this particular function. Now let me try to work on the second one, number 2. The second one is also a very simple one. I have g of t equals to what? Root of what? T minus 1. 2t minus 1 rather. 2t minus 1. The only thing that will cause problem here, you all know that when I have root of any given number on a minus, it's always give me complex. It means since is that you must not get complex number, because for at complex the root will not exist. I mean the function will not exist. It means I'll be having what? G of what? 2t minus 1, which I'll be having, it will be what? 2t minus 1 greater than equals to what? Is 0. It must be greater or equals to 0. If not, there will be a big problem. It means I can answer that was 2t greater than equals to what? 1. T greater than equals to what? 1 all over 2. It means when you have something like this, greater than equals to a2, it means it is bounded. It means I can answer that what? 1 all over 2, comma what? Infinity. 1 all over 2, comma infinity. It means it's bounded below and does not bounded above. It means domain are what? 1 all over 2 to infinity. Now, that's just what we are trying to work on. Now, let me try to show 1 or 2 examples on this part. Now, before I do that, I have to write some questions down. Okay, I think you can see what is called equality of a function. Okay, now I have some problems here that I want to show. Permit me to write it down. Okay, now look at this question. We are talking about finding domain and function values. If g of s equals to this, any real number can be used for s so that domain of g is all real numbers. Now, you are asked to find this, comma, this and that. Now, the first thing you need to do here is very simple. It's very, very simple. What you just need to do is being declared to you. Any other number can be used, you get for s, and you are asked to find it. Now, what you just need to do, my g of z will be equals to what? 3x squared, 3z squared. Let me first start for of x. Minus x plus 5. Now, it means g of what? Z now will be equals to 3z squared minus z plus 5. Now, if I should continue, my g of what? This squared will be equals to 3r squared, bracket of squared, minus r squared plus 5. Now, and which implies 3r raised to power 4, r squared plus 5. Now, I will move on to the next one. My g of what? G of what? S plus h will be equals to 3 bracket of what? S minus h squared minus, you have to put your bracket this way. This is plus, right? Now, plus what? Plus 5. Now, which I can now say that 3 bracket of x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus h minus and plus 5. Okay, there is squared. Is there squared? No, there is no squared. Sorry. Now, that is what about that? Now, which I will be having 3 minus plus 6sh plus what? 3h squared minus what? S minus h minus plus 5. That is all about that. It means my g of x of my g of that equals to that. That is what I mean there. Now, another question can be asked also. There are some questions there. Please, that is all about that. Another question is there with me, which I need to show you. We're told that find the domain, find the function values of for each function. We have what? F of x equals to 2x plus 1. We have f of 0 and f of 3 and f of minus 4. And another one, we have h of r equals to 1 over root of b. H of b rather. H of b. We have no h bracket of and h of 1 over 64 and h of 1. And the last one we are talking about, f of x equals to s squared plus 2x plus 1. We are asked to f of minus 1, f of minus 1, and f of h plus. Now, I want to work on this particular question. Now, what I just need to do is a very simple one that, it can be very simple, or it can be if you don't understand it very well. Let me first type, this is the function, this is what you are asked to. My f of is 0 will be equal to 2 bracket of 0 plus 1, which is, I will be having 1. My f of 3 will be equals to 2 bracket of 3 plus 1, which is going to be what? 7. My f of minus 4 will be equals to minus 8 plus 1, which is equals to what? It will be equals to minus 7. Now, can you see all this will be getting like that and like that? Now, you have f of g, h of v equals to this. Now, we are asked to what? This is the function. In the next video, I will explain what is called rational function. This is a very good example of rational function, but at this point, h of 16, we just have what? 1 all over what? Root of what? 16, which 1 all over 4. Take note of that. Now, h of 1 all over 4 will be equals to 1 divided by root of 1 all over 4. We all know that root of 1 is 1. Root of 4 is what? Is 2. 1 divided by 1 divided by 2, which is equals to 2. Now, and the last part of it, h of 1 minus x, we just have 1 divided by what? Root of 1 minus x. That is all. That is all. Now, we just try to work on that. And this also is a very simple one. My f of 1 will be equals to what? X squared, 1 squared plus 2 bracket of 1 plus 1, which I'll be having 4. It will be 4. Now, my f of minus 1, which should only be equals to minus 1 squared plus 2 bracket of plus 2 bracket of 2 bracket of minus 1 plus 1, which I'll be having 1, 1. It will be 0. Now, and what s is asked for there? My f of x plus h will just be equals to s plus h all squared plus 2 bracket of s plus h plus 1, which I can now expand s squared plus 2x h plus what? H squared plus 2h plus 2 plus 1. We can now do that, and now I think by now you should understand this very well, this particular mathematics very well. You are good to go. Just try, if at all you have any problem, try to find before I end, I have something here to show you, which is called quotient. Now let me call it okay. Now I have something like this. Has to finding a difference quotient. Now I have f of x. If f of x equals to x squared, find f of plus 1 minus f of x divided by what? H. Now, it's a very nice question that can be asked anywhere. What you just need to do, f of x has been declared. Now, since f of x has been declared, what you just need to do is that we are talking about what? This equals to this. Normally, f of x equals to this. It means solution to this problem. It will be equals to what? F of x plus h plus minus divided by what? H will be equals to, what are we talking about here? Will be plus h squared minus what? S squared divided by what? H, which I'll be having s squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus s squared divided by what? H. This will cancel this, and left with 2sh plus h divided by h. Now, yes, h squared. It means I'll have h bracket of 2h plus h. I just factor out h. This will cancel this. My answer becomes what? 2h plus 1. Note, very important thing, note this, that my h must not be equals to 0. If my h is equals to 0, it will cause problem, which is, it will make the function to be what? Undefined. That is what I want you to understand, it to be undefined. In the next video, I'll be working on, I'll work on type of function, some little type, special functions especially. I work on special function, and at this point, you should be fine with this. If at all, just get back to us, try to call upon us. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Once again, thanks for watching.